morning, y'all. On my way to work. Have a client in 15 minutes. I don't know if I can get to my office in 15 minutes, but we'll see. I don't believe I have ever mentioned, I know I haven't, what I do for a living. I hadn't decided really if I wanted to share this or not, but you know, sometimes people on YouTube tend to share too much, but I thought, well, it may help me see myself the way other people do, which is one of the reasons for this video or the YouTube channel. I want to see the way other people see me. So anyway, just self-improvement kind of thing. And one of the things I thought I would share is that I'm self-employed. I am a hypnotist here in Texas. In Texas, we cannot be referred to as a hypnotherapist because in Texas, if you're referred to as any kind of a therapist, you have to be regulated by the state. And we want to be regulated by the state because it will keep all the people out that, you know, have not had formal training to be a hypnotist in Texas. I went to school. The curriculum I took was from IMDHA, International Medical and Dental Hypnotherapy Association. I'm certified through that organization. So, you know, anybody can look up my credentials and see what that is. There is a tire laying in the middle of the darn road. So that's what I do for a living. So when I say I'm going to work, I'm going to see a client. What I do is I see clients individually. I've done groups, I've taught classes on some of the things that I do, but I tend to, my preference in 99.9% of my sessions are individual clients. Sometimes I see couples together if we're working on stopping smoking or something like that. But that's what I work on. I work with people, helping them improve their life, whatever it is that might mean in their world, whether it's quitting smoking, whether it's stopping biting their fingernails, improving their self-confidence, improving their self-esteem, improving their sports game. I work with golfers. I work with rodeo people, people who do the different things, the bull riding, bareback, barrel racing. I've worked with baseball players. I've worked with high, what you call it when you come over the high jump, when you come over the bar. It's very successful with sports. But the other thing that I do is a tapping technique, and what this tapping technique does is I'm a practitioner in it. I had hundreds and hundreds of hours of training in it. But what it does is it does three things that I work with it with. It can help take away pain, like a headache or a backache or a foot ache or arthritis pain at the moment. And you go do something with those joints that we just relieved, and, you know, like pick up a house, your back is going to start hurting again. So, but it's just a tapping technique that we do on our face. We use the meridians that an acupuncturist would use. We do our fingers, and we do the back of our hand. And I'm sorry, my car in front of me just stopped. So it does three things. It helps get rid of the pain. It also helps stop eating certain foods because it makes it where you don't like the food. I work with a lot of people. Pretty much everybody who comes to my office, I ask them if they drink a lot of sodas. And if they drink more than one or two, I guess more than 2 or 3 sodas a day, I ask them if they really want to quit drinking the sodas because it has a lot of sodium and sugar and things in it. Even the diet has the sodium and causes you to, and because of the sweetness, it causes something in your brain to kick in, and you want more sugary foods and more carbohydrates. So that's just sort of a tested thing. I don't have the evidence on that in front of me, but I do a lot of reading on this. So anyway, what I have them do is they bring in the soda, the hot chocolate, or the chips, or whatever it is they need to get off of on our eating plan, and they taste it. We tap on it, we talk about it, they eat it again, taste it again, and it doesn't taste good. It's a lot more than that, in detail than that, and sometimes I'll go into it. But it's really interesting to watch the person's face when they taste the food for the second time, or taste the soda for the second time, and it doesn't taste good. It's really it's almost like they're looking for it. It's like I don't understand why I don't like this, but it doesn't taste good. So it's got me off a lot of food too. So I just tend not to eat, which is a bad thing too. The third thing that it does that I work with most of the time is it gets rid of negative emotions connected to a negative memory. And when I say that, what I mean is if you have a negative memory, whether it happened today, yesterday, when you were 2, when you were, if you remember it, you remember it as the age that you were when it happened. So if it happened when you were 5, when you actually remember it at the age at the adult that you are now, you're actually remembering that memory as a 5-year-old, because you don't see it as an adult because it didn't happen when you were an adult. So what it does is it brings up negative emotion most of the time in people. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they work through it, and that's wonderful. But if they haven't, let's just say, one of their parents, hit them. And it's a terrible memory. When they think back on it, it brings up a horrible feeling, and I always do right here because it's, it's sort of in the chest or the gut area. What we do is we tap on it and talk about the memory. If it's a long memory, we give it a title. It's a whole thing. But what happens is after we finish tapping on it and talking about it, it may take anywhere from 3 minutes to 3 hours. It just depends on what the memory is and the story is behind the memory. And it can get rid of that negative emotion, so that when you think about the memory, it's just another memory from your childhood, or just another memory with that kind of person. That was my mom, that was my dad, whatever it was. And so when you think about that in the future, that emotion is not going to come back when you think about that particular memory. So that's one of the things I do. And I love doing that. Sometimes it's changed my clients' lives, where they could move on in their life and get married, have children, whatever, it was a stumbling block that this memory caused in their life as an adult. What it also does is it makes you be able to see the memory as the adult that you are, and as opposed to the 5-year-old or whatever age it was that it happened. So that's one of the things I do. When I talk in the tapping technique and the hypnosis goes really well hand in hand, because it gets rid of a lot of the big memories, if that's what we're working on, connected to the person, and then the hypnosis can take over and make the person a stronger person. Hypnosis is simply a form of relaxation that you lay in a big lazy boy chair in my office, and I begin to talk. And I don't do any kind of things with a watch or, anything like that. I just begin to talk. And what happens is, I've already told you pretty much everything that's going to be, that I'm going to say. And so you're comfortable with just laying there and relaxing. I usually talk to my clients for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. It doesn't have to go that long, but sometimes it does, because we're talking about them, and the time goes by really quickly. And so, and the hypnosis is usually anywhere from 30 minutes to 50 minutes-ish. And I record it onto a CD for the information to go into their brain and become a habit. They have to listen to the CD 21 days as they listen to it when they're going to sleep at night. So the only time that they take time out of their day is when they're in my office. All the other time, they're sleeping while they're working, and they're literally sleeping. Your subconscious mind never sleeps. It listens to the CD, and it becomes a habit. It takes 21 days to make a new habit. It takes 20 days to make a habit. It takes 21 days to make a new habit. And I'm sorry, I'm on a really bumpy road. And so they listen to the CD anywhere from 21 to 30 days is what I recommend. So And if they listen to the CD and they do the suggestions that I give them, which is really just listening to the CD, they become very happy with what they do. My smokers walk out a non-smoker immediately. They listen to the CD, they drink their water like I tell them to or suggest that they do, and they stay non-smokers unless they want to override the suggestion, which is always possible. But if somebody comes in and pays me my fee, which is quite a bit, they're usually ready to curtail this habit. Worked with a lady yesterday who ground her teeth really bad, and her teeth were starting to have a lot of problems of breakage, and so we worked with helping her not grind her teeth, helping her keep her teeth separated during the day and the night, which will help her in the long run. So yeah, that's what I do. I've been doing this since 2003. I got my certification in 2003. I opened my business. I've had radio commercials, TV commercials. I live in Texas, and it's very conservative. The town that I live in is ultra conservative, unbelievably, and so I've kind of had to educate people on what hypnosis is via the radio and TV and things like that. And since I've been doing this for so long, people have heard these commercials and they understand what it is and what it is not. I don't do commercials anymore. It just wasn't feasible. I wasn't getting the money back and the investment back that I was putting into the CD. Into the commercials. So, but I haven't seen my business drop. In fact, I've got psychologists and I've got psychiatrists that refer to me, both in different hospitals around town, and that helps me a whole lot. And plus word of mouth. That's my biggest way of having clients come in. So that's what I do for a living. And in the future, I think maybe I'll try to do some videos that will explain it better. Maybe explain specific things more, how I do the tapping. One of the other things I do that I'm trained in is I read trees. It's very similar to reading handwriting, only I give my client a piece of paper, a pen, pencil, or Crayolas, and they draw me a tree, and that's all the instructions they get is to draw me a tree. And then I tell them about their life in the past, in the present, and in the future. It's a subconscious mind that draws the tree because I don't have a tree sitting in my office. So it works out really well, and I've been doing that since 2004, I guess.